Hello, 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 my loves. As always, I hope that this live or this replay finds you well and in excellent spirits. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So, this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So, if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love. So, this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of April 14th through April 20th, 2025. And before we get into all that, I have to turn off something here. So hold on a second. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. All right, so where was I? Right, this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of April 14th through April 20th, 2025. All right, so how are we feeling? Happy Monday. Things should start to feel a little different this week, okay? In a welcome kind of way, I'd like to say. So, we've got 3 planets changing signs this week, so it's going to be very much of a shift. But thankfully, Venus is now direct, Mercury is now direct, and until May 4th, I believe it is, all planets will be direct. So we've spent the last couple of months on sleepy mode, basically, right? Things have been very stagnant with Mars retrograde. Then we had Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, the eclipses. It's just been a lot of dynamic energy, really designed to get us to see certain things, be intentional about things. And now finally, we can really kind of move forward. And this week is actually going to really bring the heat, okay? There's a lot of fiery energy this week. So it's almost like we're making up for lost time. So if there have been things that you've wanted to do but couldn't or didn't have the motivation to start, this may be the week to very well do that. And I don't know about you, but the change in the energy is very apparent. I'm a Taurus rising plus I'm a Virgo sun. So Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, they hit me like a Mack truck. Like my energy levels were low. I felt there was a lot that the universe had to show me. I'll say that. It was definitely a very transformative 6 weeks, right? But there were so many days I spent in bed. There were so many days I spent reflecting, purging. Like it was a lot, right? At times I felt like reality wasn't real. I felt like I was in a different dimension. I don't know about you, but shit was definitely weird, right? But now the energy feels a lot more normal. It feels like, okay, we're back to our regularly scheduled program. And it feels like there's almost this undercurrent of excitement that I feel is sort of permeating the energy right now, which is very nice. But again, this week is going to bring the heat. So get ready, baby. All right. So before I get into all the details, of course, housekeeping and announcements. So if you're joining me here on the live this evening, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. Say hi and hit that like button on your way in. It is one of the best ways to help the channel, right? Because it lets the algorithm know that you like this content. So it pushes it out to others who may like this content as well. All right. If you're joining me on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. Hopefully you get what you're looking for in this broadcast, where there's information, enlightenment, illumination, confirmation, clarity. You'll likely find it here. And if that is the case, hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell if you haven't already. All right, so let's see. In terms of announcements, so this is going to, let me just say the short version of this. So if you've been watching the last 2 or 3 lives, I was talking about this cosmic clearance that I'm having. Basically, I am undergoing a whole revamp with Divine Feminine Works. And so everything that I'm offering now, I've bundled it up, packaged them because they're about to go away soon. Now, again, I told you that over the last 6 weeks, I've really been going through it. It's really been a time of personal transformation. So for me, this cosmic clearance was supposed to end on April 6th, and it is now April 14th. So we see where that is. But now I've extended it because there are different things in the works. Spirit is having me do some different things, which I'm super excited about. So if you've never gotten a reading with me, if you've never ordered a candle, if you've never gotten any merch, now is the time. Especially if you're looking for clarity in these times. I've bundled my readings together. You can get some really great packages and everything is discounted because I'm making room for a whole bunch of new stuff that is to come. All right. So if you're interested in taking advantage of this sale, the link will be in the description box below. And speaking of link in the description box below, if you haven't already, you definitely need to join my private online community called Cosmic Collective. If you're someone who wants to know more about astrology, if you just want to commune with other people interested in astrology, this is the place for you. This is where all my courses live. I've got some really great stuff over there. Everything that I do, essentially offline, at least outside of YouTube, is contained in Cosmic Collective. All right. And the best part is it's absolutely free. Membership is absolutely free. So I don't know why you haven't joined already. All right. And so if you're interested, the link to that will be in the description box below as well. All right. So I guess that's pretty much it for announcements and housekeeping. So let us get into the details for the week. All right. So the theme, of course, is hot like fire. And I like this. I like this a lot because fire energy is definitely something I know I've personally been getting very acquainted with. Okay. And I feel like Venus retrograde generally, since she spent so much time in Aries, is really, all of us are kind of getting acquainted with fire energy. Now, Mercury is going to be going into Aries, which is nice and spicy, especially after having been retrograde for a couple of weeks. Mars, the planet of fire, is moving into the fire sign of Leo, which is going to really be hot like fire. Mars has spent a very long time in the sign of Cancer where it was super uncomfortable. And now Mars is going to get to start feeling like itself again, nice and fiery and action oriented. Plus, we've got the sun having, or I should say, making an aspect to Mars. All right. So that's also going to bring some heat this week. And trust and believe we need it. After all of this time of reflecting, retrogrades, remembering, and all of that stuff, it's like the universe is finally like, all right, I really hope that you took notes. I really hope that you journaled. I really hope that you got clear on everything that I've been trying to show you over the last couple of months, because now it's time to put it into action. Now it's time to take action steps. All right. It's about doing. It's about, here's what I'll say about, wow, of course, that always seems to happen. Here is what I will say about retrograde energy in the last couple of months. That energy was really concerned with being and embodying and really paying attention to your inner world. What sort of program are you running on? What are your beliefs? All of that stuff is what came up for review. And so you've had ample time, at least by the universe's standards, you've had ample time to kind of figure that out. And I don't know about you, but particularly around the eclipses last month, a lot of those themes were not only very pronounced, but became very clear. It's like the clarity and the illumination were just unmatched. And so now that you have this new plan, now that you know what you need to do or not do, now that you've cleared the mental clutter, now that you've gotten your self-worth, your self-esteem, and now that you're on the frequency of abundance, it's like, all right, now go into the world and make it happen. Go into the world and create these things, attract these things, manifest these things. And this is the week where we start to do that. And so it's super exciting, right? And, as exciting as it can also be a little scary in a way. And I say that because If these last couple of months have really had you deep in the trenches doing the work, emerging as this new person may likely feel a little uncomfortable. What I'm seeing right now is like, if you've ever broken a leg or broken an arm or anything like that, you had it in a cast for a while. And then when you take the cast off, that arm or that leg is very weak, right? It's likely smaller, it's atrophied a little bit. And so now you kind of have to use it. You got to put pressure on it. You've got to hold the thing and everything. And you may be a little scared because you're like, oh my God, is this still broken? It's weak. I don't know if anything's going to happen. That's the feeling that I'm getting right now. As we've emerged as this sort of new person, or we've emerged with this new perspective, either about ourselves or about the world. And maybe there's a little fear in actually enacting that, in actually being that, in actually doing the thing, right? Maybe, Venus retrograde had you evaluating a relationship close to you. And maybe now that we've got all of this fire energy that's ready to go, it's kind of time for you to make a difficult decision. And that difficult decision could be negative, right? Like maybe it's time to end this relationship, or maybe it's time to walk away. Or it could be it's time for you to shoot your shot and you're a little nervous, right? Because you don't know if you're going to get rejected or anything like that. Either way, there's still a bit of excitement, because even if you're walking away from something, even if you're ending something, it just means that you're walking into something new. And that's entirely exciting, right? So don't let this energy go to waste. Meaning, this isn't, don't feel like you have to do the most right now either. Like baby steps still get you there. Sometimes in order to really take action, you've got to take the littlest step at first, right? And then build momentum. No one's making you be a freight train that's just full steam ahead right now, but just do one thing. One new thing perhaps that scares you, one new thing that is in furtherance of your goals, one new thing that moves the needle for you. This is the week to get it done, right? And so, even though we've got all this fire energy, we've actually got the sun moving into Taurus this week. So, Taurus season begins this week. Okay. And so, Taurus season, very different from Aries season. Aries season was all about the fire and the doing, but because we had so much retrograde energy, the doing was really internal. And so, now that we have Taurus season coming up, and we've got all this forward moving energy, it's like, okay, now it's time to do the work, right? Think about Taurus. The symbol for Taurus is the bull, right? And at least back in the day, bulls and oxen, right? Those were beasts of burden, right? If there's a field to be plowed, it would be a bull with that thing and plowing the field, right? Although Taurus gets the connotation of being lazy, loving naps, loving good food, loving luxury and comfort, Taurus also understands the value of those things because it works for those things. And it can really put in that, I don't want to say elementary work, but that foundational work. So as there is this fire energy this week, there's also the energy of doing, of plowing, of, setting the foundation, building the foundation. And remember, unless you have like 2,000 people helping you, typically you don't build a house in one day, right? Right now, we're at the point where we're building the foundation brick by brick. And then with all that fire energy, the universe is going to kind of give you a little push, kind of give you a little nudge, kind of light a small fire under your ass so you can get going. All right. So if you get nothing else from tonight's message, start some shit, do some shit, take one step forward, and then another, and then another, and then another. And before you know it, you're well on your way to reaching your goal. All right, so that's the theme for the week. And speaking of the week, let's get into it and see exactly what we've got going on. All right, so, oops. I completely did not prepare well for this. My TV just went on thing. Sorry. All right, so there's a lot going on this week. A lot of cosmic activity. All right, so this is what we've got going on for the week of April 14th. So first, today we've got Saturn conjunct the North Node. Then we've got Mercury entering Aries, then Mercury conjunct Neptune, then Mars entering Leo finally. Then the Sun will enter Taurus, heralding Taurus season. Then we've got Mars trine Neptune, Uranus sextile the North Node, Sun square Mars, Mercury sextile Pluto, Venus conjunct the North Node, and Venus sextile Uranus. All right, so it's very much a mixed bag this week. But because we've got two planets entering fire signs, plus the Sun square Mars, which is kind of a thing, right? There's going to be a lot of momentum, a lot of fire, like I said before. But of course, I'm going to break this all down so you understand. All right. And so let's see what the moon is doing this week, actually, as well. So we've got the moon going into the, wow, I did this wrong too. You would think Mercury is still retrograde because this doesn't make any sense. Anyway, this is supposed to be the waning gibbous phase in Sagittarius, followed by the waning gibbous phase in Capricorn, and then the last quarter phase in Aquarius. All right. So we just had that full moon in Libra on Saturday. And so now we are in the waning phase. So now we're getting rid of everything that no longer serves us. And again, with all of this fire energy, it's like the universe is like, listen, perhaps the step you need to take right now is to divest yourself of what you don't need, get rid of something, walk away from something, end something, right? To make room for this new chapter that's literally happening right now. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into the week and see what we got. All right, so today we've got Saturn conjunct the North Node. All right, and so the North Node is in Pisces, Saturn is in Pisces, and so this is a very, very, I like to call it a lovely transit. All right, so let's see what it looks like on the chart. So you will see both Saturn and the North Node are at 27, 26 degrees of Pisces right there on the right. All right. So Pisces energy, it's dreams, it's illusions. And with a planet like Saturn in Pisces, it's like making your dreams a reality, right? Now, North Node in Pisces is so like prophetic. I like to think of it as like a prophecy that's being fulfilled in your life. Like there's something that is unfolding and it's likely unfolding very magically. Now, this could be a goal, this could be a dream, or it could be like literally a prophecy on your life, right? This glimpse of where you're headed. And with Saturn there, Saturn makes it real, okay? Pisces is wonderful for dreaming, it's wonderful for imagination, but it's not very stable. It's not grounded. It's like a helium balloon. It's very hard. Unless you're holding it tightly, it's just going to float up to the sky, right? But this prophecy, this, I don't even know what else to call it. This unfolding, this trajectory in your life, it's real. And you're likely getting a glimpse of it right now. I'm smiling because I kind of got a glimpse of mine today. And I like it. I like it a lot. But this makes it real. And so what I'm being guided to say right now is don't doubt it and don't be afraid of it. It could be a lot bigger than you anticipate. It could be a lot more profound than you anticipate. Or it could be something you've wanted for such a long time and the universe is saying, this is actually happening. Don't doubt that. Don't be afraid. Grab this thing with both hands and hold on tight. All right. You're being shown the promised land right now. You're being shown your trajectory, and it's spiritual, it's magical, it's all encompassing. It's just a really beautiful, beautiful transit. Now, of course, because Saturn is known as a malefic planet and its energy can be harsh, right? Like a harsh parent, a harsh father, let's say that. Saturn actually does represent fatherhood. But this dream is not going to be without some work. Okay. So, as beautiful as it is, as real as the universe is making you understand that it is, there's going to be some work. It's likely not something that's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen over time, perhaps over a long period of time, over weeks, months, years, even. But for today, you get a little glimpse of it. Hold on to that tightly and be willing to do the work. As you do the work, everything will unfold. Everything will start to make sense. It's like, you know how in video games, you know the end, you know what the ending is, but the whole point of the game is to get to the ending. And like, let's say, I'm not a gamer, obviously, but, in Super Mario Brothers, which I am familiar with, you know, Mario and Luigi had to save Princess Peach, right? And so they had to go through all of these obstacles. They had to fight Bowser. They had to do all of these things, all of these quests, all of these tasks in order to save the princess, right? Saving the princess is like the North Node. And all of these tests and these tasks and these quests are Saturn, right? So, as much as you're seeing the end results, you're also seeing the work that's going to be involved with it too. Don't shy away from the work. Don't say, I don't want this. Remember, this is like a prophecy over your life. And you're kind of going to have to do the work. Like, there's kind of no getting around it. But it's a beautiful unfolding that's happening. And today we get a glimpse of it. All right. So that's Monday. Let's move on to Tuesday. So on Tuesday, kind of a light day, we have the waning gibbous moon in Sagittarius. Let's see what this looks like on the chart. You'll see on the left-hand side of the chart, the moon at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. I personally love when the moon is in Sagittarius because it's optimistic. As of now, and since yesterday, the moon has been in Scorpio. And when the moon is in Scorpio, it's so damn intense. It can be so, I don't want to call it dramatic, although it can feel like it's dramatic. It can feel very emotional. There can be a lot of repressed emotions that come to the surface. You get triggered, all the things, right? And then when we traverse that, it's almost like traversing the underworld. And then we get to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is pie in the sky, optimistic, happy-go-lucky, right? And so with the moon waning in Sagittarius, it's like, if it doesn't fit into the big picture, then why are you even doing it, right? Think of the glyph for Sagittarius. It's the arrow that's pointing up into the sky. Everything about Sagittarius wants expansion. So if there is something that is limiting you, if there's something that's holding you back, if there's anything or anyone that's doing those things, when the moon is waning in Sagittarius, you kind of got to cut those strings. You kind of have to let that go because Sagittarius wants to take you far, far and wide, and to expand and experience so many different things, and feeling optimistic about that, right? There's something that I heard either yesterday or today that really stuck with me. Oh, it was today because I was watching a video, an Erin Lyons video. And she was talking about going into the next chapter. And with a week like this, when we have so much fire energy, when we have this energy of doing and moving forward, it's like when you decide and when you take that action, you're telling the universe, I'm ready, right? And by virtue of that, the universe has to make room, has to make it happen. The universe will meet you more than halfway if you're willing to take that first step, if you're willing to put forth some action. And understand, sometimes the action isn't overt. Sometimes the action can be literally deciding and standing 10 toes down on that, or imagining the situation the way that you want it to be, right? Those are considered actions also. But when you let the universe know unequivocally that you're ready, the universe moves, the universe shifts, and therefore you shift. And that's how you shift into a new situation or a new paradigm even, right? So with the moon in Sagittarius, if it's limiting you, if it's not allowing you to expand, you kind of got to cut it loose. Hello, vibrant enhancements. Salutations to you as well. Thank you for joining us live here tonight, as well as Patricia Jean. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. So yes, cut it loose if it limits you or doesn't allow you to expand while the moon is in Sagittarius. All right. So it's Tuesday. Let's move on to Wednesday. So Wednesday is when things start to get a bit spicy, and that is when Mercury moves into Aries. All right. So let's see what this looks like on the chart. At the bottom of the chart in the red circle, you will see Mercury, who is the it's Ray. Hey Ray, how are you? I haven't seen you in a minute. I'm so glad that you were able to catch this live. So you will see Mercury at 0 degrees of Aries right there. That's a little purple guy. All right. And so now that Mercury is now direct and in a sign like Aries, this is like new thoughts, new mindset, a new way of speaking. Aries is blunt, direct, and to the point. And Aries is very much about your desires, right? Desires to the point where you're not necessarily concerned about what anyone thinks, what anyone wants. It's like you want something, you have it. And with Mercury in Aries, now you're vocal about it. So as we enter this new cycle, right? Say what you need. Exercise that throat chakra. Oh, you are too sweet, honey. Thank you so much. Exercise that throat chakra. Say what you need. Let people know clearly, straight up, no chaser, what you want, what you need, what you desire, what you need help with, right? Mercury in Aries allows you to literally speak things into existence. With Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, right? It's about initiation. And Mercury in Aries is initiation through speech, right? Through thinking. So now that the retrogrades are over, now that we're past eclipse season, now that the dust is finally settling and we're seeing things for what they are after all of these shifts and after all of these revelations, what is it that you want? Tell somebody. If you need something from someone, say it. Don't beat around the bush. The other thing about Aries energy is fearless. So this is like saying it with your chest. This is, yes, you can be a little afraid. No one's saying to do it, you may have to do it white knuckled. You may have to do it scared, but say it. Express yourself. Say what you need. Talk about what you want. Speak it into existence. Maybe you're not even asking anyone externally for it. Maybe you're asking your highest self for it. Maybe you're giving yourself permission to start something new. If that's the case, do it. Mercury in Aries, perfect for that. And you're going to want to look at where Aries is in your natal chart. This will let you know perhaps what you want to speak into existence. So let's say you're a Libra rising. Aries is your 7th house. You can speak a new relationship into existence. If you've got Aries as your 2nd house or your 6th house or your 10th house, you can speak into existence a new job, a new career, a new income stream, right? It's all about newness and it's all about exercising that throat chakra. So do that. Okay. That's Wednesday. So now we get to Thursday. And on Thursday, we've got Mercury conjunct Neptune in Aries. All right. So let's see what this looks like on the chart. All right, so at the bottom of the chart, you will see both Mercury and Neptune are at 0 degrees of Aries. So this is quite profound, right? Because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Both of these planets are at 0 degrees of Aries. So it's this energy of a complete reset. Okay. Now we are getting acclimated to Neptune in Aries. Okay. Because Neptune has never been in Aries during our lifetime. Neptune just spent about 14 years in Pisces. And in Pisces, we were cultivating our inner world. We were concerned with our spirituality, with our faith, with our beliefs, with our subconscious. And so everything we've been cultivating over the last 14 years, we're now taking out into the world, right? I like to call it walk it like you talk it. Right? You've been talking that talk, you've been doing the things internally, getting your body is your body is your temple. You've been getting everything right on the inside. But is that how you're going to be living going forward? Like Neptune is really going to have you walk it like you talk it, right? And on a side note, for people who've been faking the funk, because Neptune in Pisces was like a funhouse mirror or like smoke and mirrors, a lot of things that were what we thought were real are not. Perfect example. Yesterday, I was having such a great time going through threads and seeing how like China is just putting America on blast. Like talking, basically exposing how all of the luxury goods are made in the same factories as the cheap shit, and how basically America has been, basically there's no such thing as dupes. There's no such thing as counterfeit because it's all made in the same place. And it just really removed the veil from that. That whole discourse that everyone was up in arms with over the last couple of days, that is prime Neptune and Aries behavior. Neptune and Aries is like, okay, this is the thing for real, right? There's no smoke and mirrors. There's no fog. It's clear as fucking day, right? So I've really been enjoying that discourse on Threads. But anyway, as it pertains to you personally, this is a new dream. You know, Neptune rules dreams. Neptune is otherworldly. Neptune is big picture. And so perhaps over the last 14 years, you've been working on something. Perhaps you've really been cultivating your spirituality, you know, getting yourself right from the inside out. And so now maybe you have a new dream, a new objective, a new faith, even a new belief system, right? Maybe you've really learned how to work with your subconscious, program it with the things that you want. Now, Neptune in Aries is like, all right, we're going to take this for a spin now. It's time for a test drive. And then with Mercury right there, again, this is speaking your dreams into existence in a very unapologetic sort of way. Aries gives no fucks. Aries does not want to care how you feel. Aries is not really concerned with societal norms. Aries is like, I want what I want and I want it now. And with Neptune there, if there's a dream that you have, if there's a goal that you have, if there's this lofty ambition that you have for your life, stick to it unapologetically and take the initial steps to make it happen. You kind of have 14 years to do it, right? But starting now, you're going to start with your mindset. That's because Mercury is going to be conjunct Neptune. So take advantage, right? Again, like I said before, baby steps still take you there. You don't have to be doing the most right now. Really, under this transit, you may just decide something. You may say, okay, I want this, and own that desire. Not just think of it as some nebulous thing that maybe you can have or that would be nice. No, you're saying, I want this, I'm gonna have it. Point blank, period. That could be an action, right? So think about that. Take some time to really think about that. Because, like I said, once you decide, the universe jumps to action. The universe is ready to move. The universe, oh, no problem. I needed to hear that too. That's why I said it. Once you're ready to take action, the universe is like, I bet. All right, let me move this around. Let me move this around. Let me get this person in the mix. Let me soften this person's heart. Let me open this person's mind to give you exactly what you want. We're living it right now. Exciting times, very exciting times. All right. So that is Thursday. Let's move on to Friday. So on Friday, things get even spicier because not only did Mercury enter Aries and then Mercury conjuncted Neptune in Aries, then we've got Mars entering Leo. And we've got the waning gibbous moon in Capricorn. All right. So let's see what this looks like on the chart. All right, so we've got Mars entering Leo. You'll see that at the bottom portion of the chart. And then at the upper right, you'll see the moon at 0 degrees of Capricorn. All right, so the energy of Mars has been really watered down for the last couple of months. So Mars first entered Cancer in October. And Mars is not comfortable in Cancer. Mars is fiery, it's direct, it's bold. And direct is the operative word because Mars wants to go from point A to point B in the fastest and most direct way possible. But when you put Mars in a sign like Cancer, it's like putting a fireball into a glass of water. It loses its momentum, it loses its spark. It's got to contend with emotions. Everything about Mars in Cancer has been about, because Mars represents how you go after what you want. And in a sign like Cancer, we've had to go after what we wanted indirectly. We had to do it from the inside. We had to wield our emotions in order to get what we want. And some of us are comfortable with that, especially if you've got Mars in Cancer natally. Others of us, not so much. I personally have Mars in Leo, and Mars in Cancer was tough, right? Because I wanted certain things and it was like you're met with resistance. And this resistance triggered all these emotions, anger, frustration, rage, right? And then still you have to find a way to get forward, to move forward. You have to find a way to get what you want, but it feels like it's almost out of your reach, or it feels like you've got to go through the back door to get it. Frustrating, to say the least. And now Mars is like, all right, finally we're moving into a fire sign. And in a sign like Leo, Mars is like, listen, I am only doing what I love to do. Mars and Leo is like, I detest having to do anything that's not in alignment with what I want, what I'm passionate about. But if I'm passionate about it, honey, I'm gonna do all the things, right? So this is good because apart from this energy of, Neptune and Mercury that I was talking about before, right? Like having this new dream and speaking it into existence, Mars and Leo is going to remind you that this new dream should be in alignment with what it is that you actually want, what your heart desires. And with this Aries and Leo energy, it's important to remember that courage is necessary. Fearlessness is necessary. Sometimes following our hearts is hard. We don't live in a vacuum. We don't live in a bubble where we can just do whatever we want, whenever we want, all the time, and not necessarily care. People who are like that are sometimes called sociopaths, right? But having the courage to dream a new dream, having the courage to say, I really want this. And again, standing 10 toes down on that, especially with the sun moving into Taurus, it's going to be easy for you to ground these things, ground this dream, ground these desires, ground what your heart really wants, right? But you have to be willing to commit to it in a sense. You have to be willing to fight for it, defend it. That's the thing with Aries energy. Aries energy isn't just fearless, it's defensive. When Aries wants something, it's like, I'm willing to fight for it. I'm willing to go toe to toe with you, because I'm not going to let you take it away from me, or I'm not going to let you stand in my way. This is the energy with which we are creating right now. It's this passion, this fearlessness, this defensiveness, and this sense of identity. Because even though Aries gets the connotation of being selfish, selfish is not a bad thing. But it's about being grounded in who you are, right? Being autonomous, being independent, and saying, I want this and I'm going after it. And everything so far that I've talked about with the astrology is supporting that. Again, if you'll take that first step, the universe will say, all right, I'll meet you. The universe is like, I'll even meet you where you're at. But you've got to take the action. You've got to take that first step, and you've got to do it fearlessly, and you've got to do it from a place of passion and what you actually want. So take the time to think about that before taking any action. The other thing about fire energy is that it can be impulsive, right? So you'll have this desire, then you just want to act. Take a moment, collect yourself, right? And figure out, okay, is this what I really want to do? Is this what I really want to have? Is this where I really want to be? Is this where I really want to go? All right, cool. Tell the universe, you know what? I decided this is what I want. Help me. And it shall happen. A way will be made for you. Okay. Then that same day, we have the waning gibbous moon in Capricorn. And I like when the moon is in Capricorn as well, because it's serious business. Not just that, it's like talking about being grounded. All this fire energy, we can really plant these seeds at the same time. But the thing with Capricorn is like, if you don't have this, if you're not willing to work for it, don't do it. Right? Capricorn is success driven. Capricorn wants to get to the top of the mountain. Capricorn wants to get to the finish line. And that takes work, right? So if you're not willing to do the work, don't do it, right? But if you are willing to do the work, you got to weed out things that will derail you from the finish line. You'll have to weed out things that are contrary to the successful completion of whatever it is that whatever goal you're setting, dream you're dreaming, intention you're planning, right? You have to keep your eyes on the prize with Capricorn, and Capricorn will indeed bless you and give you a reward if you put in the work. And so when the moon is in Capricorn, especially in the waning phase, we become very clear on what's not going to move the needle and what we don't need. What's not going to get us over the finish line. So think about that as well. You may not even need to think about it. The universe may kind of just show it to you. You may feel intuitively what works and what doesn't. So listen to your intuition with that. It'll definitely help you out. All right. So that's Friday. Let's move on to Saturday. So Saturday, we've got a bit of activity, right? We've got the sun entering Taurus, heralding Taurus season. We've got Mars trine Neptune, and then we've got Uranus sextile the North Node. All right. So let's see what this looks like on the chart. There we go. So at the top of the chart, right, you'll see the sun at 0 degrees of Taurus. Thereafter, on the left-hand portion of the chart, you'll see Mars at 0 degrees of Leo, which is going to be trying to Neptune, which is at 0 degrees of Aries. Fire. Then we've got the top of the chart, Uranus at 25 degrees of Taurus, which is going to be sextile to the North Node, which is about 25, 26 degrees of Pisces. All right. So this is a really interesting juxtaposition of energy. So, of course, with the sun moving into Taurus, it's very much about Taurus energy. So it's grounded, it's stable, it's fixed, stubborn, I guess you can also say, right? But it's very much concerned with the five senses and with the material world, right? So money is definitely a hot topic when the sun is in Taurus, right? Think of the Wall Street bull, right? Finance is very much within the realm of Taurus. So wherever Taurus is in your natal chart, this is a time when money or an undercurrent of finances or financial issues becomes sort of prominent or emphasized, right? Maybe you're trying to make more money. Maybe there's a change in your money. Maybe you're trying to stabilize your finances. Maybe you want to buy some new things, right? Either way, Taurus season brings that. However, the most important use of Taurus energy, and the sun will be in the sign of Taurus for about 4 weeks, right? Work and building a foundation. Taurus is the first of the earth signs. It is the fixed sign. When you think of a foundation, it is fixed. It's fixed because everything else is built on top of the foundation. So it begs the question, with all of this Aries energy, with these dreams and goals and everything, what foundation are you building, or what foundation do you have to build right now? Remember, everything that's going on right now is really at the very beginning process. Again, when you think about Aries, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So we're starting at ground zero. This is like a complete reset. So think of this goal, this dream as literally a house. And beginning now, we are getting the blueprints together, which is all of this sort of fire energy. And then with the sun moving into Taurus, we're literally breaking ground and building the foundation. So I want you to think about that both literally and metaphorically. If you are looking to up your finances, right? Let's say you are a business owner and you're like, okay, I want to start making, 5 or 6 figures a month. What kind of foundation does that have to be? Right? Foundations have to support everything that goes on top of it. It has to support walls, drywall, floors, stairs, furniture, electricity, plumbing. The foundation supports all of this. So what foundation are you building? And remember, Taurus does not move fast. Taurus moves very slowly. You kind of have to, because the foundation is so important. You got to take your time with it. Doing that in that way is going to make everything down the road much easier and more stable and long lasting. If you have a faulty foundation, your house is going to fall apart at some point. If you add too much to a shaky foundation, the house is going to fall apart. This is the time where we build, right? We're no longer in the time where Neptune was in Pisces and we're like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Let me manifest it. Let me sit on the couch and manifest. All right. Neptune in Aries now is like, all right, put your money where your mouth is. What do you have to do to be a millionaire? And again, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the doing, it is internal, right? But we live in a dualistic dimension. You're going to have to do something externally also. So think about that as you prepare. I literally want you to think about this like building a house. As a matter of fact, this would be a great exercise. Create it. It's a twofold exercise. Okay. And I think I'm going to post this in the community tab because I'm hearing that people really need to hear this right now. So first, you are going to build your blueprint. What is this house? I want you to write it down to the details. I want you to tell me not only what the foundation looks like, how many rooms are there, how many bathrooms. Like, I want you to be as specific as possible to make this blueprint. And then after you are satisfied with this blueprint, you are going to start building the foundation. What materials do you need? Who do you need to help you? Maybe you need to hire a contractor. Maybe you will, right? You're going to need, subcontractors, all that stuff. What are you going to use? What materials are going to use? Who are you going to hire? How long is it going to take? This is your assignment beginning this week. Put your blueprint together and then start building the foundation. And hopefully you hear this message. Whoever needs to hear this, they will hear it. And it'll likely be confirmation that something you've been thinking about, it's time to make it real. It's time to make it tangible. It's time to make it long lasting, generational wealth. Imagine the feeling of, literally using a house as an example, imagine the feeling of thinking of a house in your mind and the feeling that evokes, right? It's beautiful. It's everything you've always wanted, especially if you've never owned a home before, especially if you've always lived in homes that other people had lived in. This is your newly constructed house. And in your mind, you're like, oh, this looks great. And then the feeling of excitement when you start drawing the plans for it, whether you do it yourself or you work with an architect, right? You're like, damn, I envisioned the room to be this amount of square feet, right? And the excitement that comes with that. And then I want you to think about breaking ground to build the foundation. You've got all the contractors, you've got all the materials, you've got the bulldozer, you've got the cement trucks that are coming to literally build a house that you thought in your mind. And then I want you to think about the house being completed. Something that was once only in your mind's eye. Now you can use a literal key to open it. The master suite with the huge walk-in closet and the huge soak-in tub, it's yours. You thought about it and now it's here. Baby, the universe is serving this energy to you on a silver platter. You just have to use it. You literally just have to use it. The universe doesn't troll you. The universe doesn't even test you. The universe just meets you where you're at. If you only believe that this house can stay in your mind's eye, the universe is going to be like, all right, that's where it lives. But if you have the courage to say, listen, I'm ready. I'm ready to put plan to paper. I'm ready to break ground. I'm ready to build the foundation. The universe loves that. The universe loves helping us because that's what it's here for. Abundance is our birthright, right? And so being able to do this, taking these steps, letting the universe know that you are ready. And if you're watching this right now, whether live or on the replay, I want you to comment in all caps, I'm ready. I'm ready. The universe is going to meet you where you're at. And before you know it, the momentum is going to build. That thing that was just a vision is going to come to life. And now you're in a new paradigm. You're in a new damn house. A house that you built, a house that you created. So do that. And again, type I am ready in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this on the replay. All right. So that is the sun moving into Taurus. And piggybacking off of that is Mars trine Neptune. So Neptune is kind of a big player right now, right? Because it just moved into Aries. We've got Mercury conjunct Neptune, and then we've got Mars trine Neptune. Now, Mars is going to be in Leo at this time, and this is about being courageous, moving from your heart space, taking action. You know, what's interesting, I love the play between Leo and Aries. Aries is very much me, selfish. Leo is very much main character energy, right? Leo is very main character energy. Yes, Ray, you are ready. I'm ready too. And so when you put these two together, it's like it's like the universe is giving you a permission slip to be selfish, be main character energy, to not think about what anyone else has to say about this. Sweet JP777, I am ready. Have my ideas and desires written out, and the universe is supporting me. Yes, 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 yes. I love that because it's true. It's so true. It's so true. And you're going to see this unfolding. I promise you. I promise. If you're willing to get over the fear, if you're willing to put in the work, it's not going to happen. It's happening right now. So yes, being selfish, being main character energy, not necessarily caring about anybody else. Now, we're not doing this to anyone's detriment, right? We're not hurting anybody in the process, but we're saying, look, it's time for me to focus on what I need, what I want, what I've desired, what I've put on the back burner, what I've forgotten. It's about you right now. You and what you want. That's it. Right? It's like with Aries energy, it's laser-like focused almost to obsession. I want this thing and that's all I see. With Leo energy, it's main character. So Leo's in the spotlight. It can't see anybody else. It's enjoying its moment in the sun, right? So that's sort of how you need to approach this. That's why I called this week's live Hot Like Fire, because that's the element that we are in right now, right? Fire creates, fire burns, fire purifies. Patricia Jean says, I am ready. Bring it on. Yes, 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 yes. We are ready. I want you to get amped. I want you to get hyped. I want you to get excited. That is the energy. That's the prime energy for manifestation. Hype, excitement, passion. Again, it's not to say that you can't be scared, nervous, or a little doubtful. We all have things that we work through, right? Especially if we've been burned or hurt or disappointed in the past. It can be hard to have that optimism, but that is like a muscle. You have to keep working it. You have to keep overcoming the fear. You have to keep moving forward, as scary as it will be. And then guess what? With all this fire energy, it's going to give you confidence, right? Those old style coal trains, right, that are fueled by coal, they just keep adding the coal, keep adding the coal. That's what moves the train forward. This fire energy is going to keep feeding you confidence, keep feeding you passion, keep feeding you motivation to keep you going. Okay? It's super important that that's the state that you're in when you're crafting this blueprint, when you're building this foundation. Right? The phrase that just came to mind was scared money don't make money. And of course, with the sun going into Taurus, that's very appropriate. But that fear, anything that's fearful, doubtful, that's holding you back, that's limiting you, there's no time, space, or energy for any of that. This is the time to bulldoze through it. This is the time to say, you know what? Fuck that. I don't care. I'll be scared later. But for right now, I'm doing this. And most importantly, I'm doing it for me. Keep that in mind. Then we've got Uranus sextile the North Node. So we already talked about the North Node earlier in the week with Saturn conjunct the North Node. And that is dreams becoming reality. Okay. So Uranus sextile the North Node is leaving room for the magic, leaving room for the universe to surprise you. And I love this. Excitement and confidence, prime energy for manifestation. Yes, it is. You know how easier it is to like get what you want, when you already know and believe that you're going to get it? Like, for instance, it's your birthday, right? And you know that every year you have a friend that gets you flowers or you have a friend that gets you a gift. You get excited because you know your birthday is coming around and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to get something. I'm going to get a gift. I know that this is coming." Everything is coming. Everything is yours. If you want it, the reason why you want it is because it's already yours. So you can have the confidence. Don't let fear fake you out. Fake you out. I don't know if that's a phrase, but I just made it up. Don't let fear psych you out. Don't let fear put a veil between what you already know to be true. That thing is yours. You have that career, you have that job, you have that money, you have that relationship, you have that home, you have whatever it is, you have it already. And then when you're excited, it's like the universe gets excited too. Universe is like, yes, I've been waiting for you to be excited. You know, because of free will and everything, you're afraid. I gotta let you be afraid. I gotta let you wallow. I gotta let you be in that negative state. But I'm literally here at your beck and call, waiting for you to be excited and confident about what you already have. That's exactly what the universe is like. Okay. So Uranus sextile the North Node, leave room for the magic. I love this because allow the universe to surprise you. Allow the universe to say, I don't think you thought I was gonna do that. Or you didn't think I was going to come through like this, huh? The minute that you decide, the minute that you say, yes, I'm ready, the universe is like, I got some stuff for you. I've got some stuff up my sleeve. Ooh. Now, here's the thing. Uranus is still in Taurus, though. So it's probably going to require you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit. Okay? Universe is like, guess what? I got this new car for you, but you're gonna have to travel a little bit to get it. Right? You're going to have to be a little uncomfortable. You're going to have to take the bus to come get your new car, but it's a new car, right? So allow spirit, allow the universe, allow God to surprise you in the best way possible. And it's going to come via opportunity, an opportunity that seems too good to be true, but it's not. An opportunity that seems exactly in alignment because it is. An opportunity that is perfect for you to get you where you need to go, right? And again, with the North Node in Pisces, it's that prophecy over your life. The universe is like, I know. It's like the universe is kind of going to sit you down and say, you've been a good girl. You've been a good boy. Here's this. Here's this opportunity. I want you to grab that shit with both hands and say, yes, I accept. I take it. Yes. I approve. Yes. Because it's going to be good. Again, it may require you to step outside of your comfort zone, but that's where the fun stuff is. That's where growth and expansion are. So do that and leave room for the magic. Okay. So that is Saturday. So now let us get to Sunday and see what we've got. So we've got quite a bit of stuff going on Sunday. All right. So first we've got the Sun square Mars. Then we've got Mercury sextile Pluto. Then we got Venus conjunct the North Node. Then Venus sextile Uranus. And then the last quarter moon in Aquarius. So let's see what this looks like on the charts. There's a lot going on. Okay, so first, Sun square Mars. So you will see at the right-hand side, I'll just enumerate this because it's a lot going on. So Sun in Taurus, square Mars in Leo, both at 1 degree. Then we've got Mercury sextile Pluto. Mercury is in Aries. Pluto is in Aquarius. Then we've got Venus conjunct the North Node in Pisces. Then we've got Venus in Pisces, sextile Uranus in Taurus, and the moon is in Aquarius. All right, again, lots going on Sunday. So let's take it step by step. So first up, Sun square Mars. Again, there's this fire, right? Because Mars is finally in a fire sign. So Mars is in Leo, the Sun is in Taurus. Now, Sun in Taurus, it's all about building that foundation, right? And so it's like while your consciousness is focused on building, Your drive may want to have you derail yourself a little bit. And let me tell you what I mean. So Leo is very childlike, it's fun, it's enjoyable. And so Mars in Leo, it's great for following your heart and all of that. But when you're kind of focused, like you might be during Taurus season on building that foundation, Mars and Leo may want you to play a little bit. Mars and Leo may want you to play hooky. Mars and Leo says, I'll take the day off from building this foundation. Let's go do something fun. Now, there is time for that, right? And don't get me wrong, Taurus energy likes a good break. Taurus likes a good nap. Taurus can work hard, but likes its sleep as well. So this could bode well for you. However, in playing hooky, do not let it derail you from the task at hand, which is building this foundation. Take a break if you need to, right? Enjoy yourself, have some fun, but don't let that become where your energy and your focus goes. And because Mars has been in Cancer for a long time and we've been feeling kind of aggy and whatever, we may really want to wholeheartedly embrace that Mars in Leo and just have fun and do all of those things, right? To the detriment of the task at hand, which is again building that foundation. So, suffice it to say, this is going to be a transit that does not last too long, okay? Just a couple of days. So during that time, you may want to, especially because the sun is moving into Taurus the day before. So it's like you're literally about to break ground and then you're kind of just like, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. So you'll procrastinate, or maybe you'll just go off and do something fun and forget about it or delay the start of this task at hand, right? So make sure that you don't derail, make sure you don't get sidetracked. Make sure that you handle your business at this time. Okay, so that's just word to the wise. Okay, then we've got Mercury sextile Pluto, and this is a very powerful transit. Now, we talked about Mercury already. It's direct and it's in Aries, and so we're speaking things into existence. And the beauty of this is that when you add Pluto as a sextile to this, your words hold a lot of weight. Okay. So I want you to be cognizant of what you are creating because it can really happen. Okay. And because Aquarius is very much like a futuristic sign, a forward looking sign, it's like whatever you're speaking, for better or for worse, it really has ripples into the future. It can either really improve your life or it could really decimate your life. There's power in the tongue, always, but very much so under this transit of Mercury sextile Pluto. Okay, so watch what you say, especially when angry. Okay, Aries is known for popping off. It's a fire sign, it's combative, it can be very in your face, defensive. So, essentially, what this can look like in real life, if you don't like something, if something annoys you, if someone annoys you, if you just turn the news on right now, anyone can get upset, frustrated, but that feeling of anger is going to have ripple effects into every area of your life. It's going to permeate. That energy is going to permeate into everything. And so instead of speaking into existence what you want, you're giving power to what you don't like. You're giving power to what annoys you, what frustrates you. Right? Be cognizant of what you say. And if anything is going to really like move you to anger, if anything's going to really frustrate you, like walk away. Walk away. Don't keep ruminating in your mind what you could have said, what you should have said, how you should have cursed this person out. Like, do not live in that energy. The power of this transit is that it gives weight and reverberation to whatever you're speaking into existence. So speak good things. And even if you are angry, channel that anger into something constructive. Okay, channel it into the thing that you want, not the thing that you don't want. Okay, very powerful. very influential transit, okay? Then we've got Venus conjunct the North Node, all right? So to keep a tally, we've had Saturn conjunct the North Node, we had Uranus sextile the North Node, and now we've got Venus conjunct the North Node. Now, we already got a taste of this earlier this month, right? Particularly on April 2nd. Because Venus was retrograde, it had already hit that North Node like 2 weeks ago, right? And so we're still kind of in the energy of this. But now that Venus is direct, the resources and the relationships that you need to get to where you're going are going to become very apparent in a magical and prophetic sort of way. So pay attention to whoever orbits into your reality. Pay attention to whoever's there to help you, either with physical resources, advice, introductions even, right? All of that is going to galvanize to help you get to where you are going. Now, piggybacking off what I said before with Mercury sextile Pluto, this is why you don't want to be in this state of anger, because that anger, that frustration that is expressed verbally could repel the very people that are here to help you right now. That's what I'm talking about, the ripple effect. If you're sitting here cursing everybody out, if you're here, talking badly about people, if you're angry, if you're frustrated, the very people who the universe is literally sending to help you, whether in any capacity, right? That anger, that vitriol that you're spewing verbally, right, could really repel them. So get your anger, frustration under control and watch who the universe brings to you. It's magical. It really is. When we talk about North Node in Pisces, again, it's that prophecy. So pay attention and don't be an asshole, basically. All right. Then we've also got Venus sextile Uranus. Okay. And this is also leaving room for the magic. This is also opportunities. So to piggyback on what I said before about Venus conjunct the North Node, it's like the universe is sort of bringing you the resources and the relationships to get you to where you need to go. Now, it's also going to present opportunities, perhaps to meet people who are going to be mainstays in your life, to acquire resources. But again, it's going to require you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit. Everything about what I've said, I don't want you to misconstrue it to think that you don't have to do anything. As a matter of fact, I think I spoke ad nauseum about this is a week of doing, right? This is a week of action with all this fire energy. But everything that you need, everything that you even want is on the other side of your comfort zone. So opportunities are going to present themselves, but it's up to you to take advantage of these opportunities. It's up to you to say, okay, I'll meet this person for lunch, or okay, I'll apply for this job, or okay, I will put this out there and advertise this, right? By doing so, you are taking that first step. Like we said, you're ready to take that first step, and the universe is going to meet you more than halfway. Okay, so, and then we end the week with the last quarter moon in Aquarius. And so the last quarter moon is halfway between the full moon and the new moon. And it's kind of like, okay, we're at the point where we're almost at the new moon. This is the time to really ramp up, banishing and getting rid of the things that we don't want. We're not looking back. We're not saying, oh, I regret this and whatever. We're taking responsibility for what we did or didn't do, and we forge ahead, right? And with the moon in Aquarius in the waning phase, right, in the last quarter phase, it's about thinking of the future. Anything that's not going to fit into this dream, anything that's not going to fit into the future vision you have for yourself has to go. Now, what I love about astrology, one of the things I love about astrology is that every sign is associated with the part of the body. And when we talk about Aquarius, it's the eyes. The eyes are associated with Aquarius to see the future. If you can't see it in your future, let it go. Let it go. Remember, this is a time of action. What you're willing to do, the universe is willing to meet you more than halfway. If you don't see it in your future, let it go. I don't care how long you've held on to it. I don't care how long you've been friends with this person. I don't care how long you've been in this relationship, you've been in this job. If you cannot see it in your future, let it go. And the thing about letting go that a lot of us struggle with is that sometimes we don't believe that we're going to be made whole again. It's like we let something go and we feel like we're going to have this void forever. But guess what? Most of the time, when you let go of what's not in alignment, you get even better. You get even better. You get what's in alignment with you. You get the thing that fits like a glove. You get the perfect situation. You get the perfect relationship for you if you're willing to just let go. So again, if you don't see it in the future, let it go in the present. All right, my loves. So that's all I got for you for this week. All right. So that concludes this edition of the weekly Astro forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this week and beyond. So for information on everything that you need to know about me and my services, all of that is in the description box below. We will meet again next week, same time, same place, same information. All right. So with that being said, take care. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Take care.